Let's turn to Ukraine. President Putin has promised to carry on attacking Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Russian missile strikes have left millions of people without electricity in Ukraine, where winter temperatures are below zero. He said growing global criticism wouldn't interfere with missions in Ukraine. Let's go to Ukraine now and talk to our correspondent Hugo Bashega in Kyiv. President Putin, Hugo, absolutely unapologetic about targeting civilian infrastructure, even blaming Ukraine for starting it. What effect is this having?
Yeah, Karin, and the Ukrainians have been saying that this is how Russia is responding to military defeats on the battlefield, by attacking civilian sites and civilian infrastructure in cities away from the front lines. And I don't think President Putin's comments will come as a surprise here. The authorities have been saying that Russia is likely to continue targeting civilian infrastructure, accusing Russia of weaponizing a winter. And as you can see, it is cold. Temperatures here in Kyiv and across the country are now below freezing, and you have potentially tens of millions of people across the country facing very difficult conditions, without heating, without electricity, and in some places even without water. And some Western officials have been saying that these attacks could amount to war crimes because of the destruction that has been caused to this country's civilian infrastructure. But again, President Putin yesterday saying that this criticism will not stop the attacks that have been carried out by Russia. So we've seen that Russia has been using missiles, but also Iranian-made drones to carry out those attacks. And later today, the Biden administration is expected to announce more sanctions targeting Russia, specifically related to these drones that have been used by Russia. And we had an update earlier this morning from the UK Defence Ministry saying that Russia is likely to have received a new supply of those drones, again, that have been used to attack this country's energy infrastructure.
And Hugo, what has this winter weather meant for the actual fighting, where Russia has had so many major setbacks in recent weeks?
Yeah, it seems that we see a little bit of a lull, relatively speaking, in terms of the fighting after the Russians abandoned the city of Kherson almost a month ago. And the Ukrainians are regrouping, but a lot of activities happening in the east of the country, especially around the town of Bakhmut in the eastern Donetsk region. And for weeks we've been talking about this town. It doesn't have a lot of military significance, but it seems that the Russians are trying to capture this town to perhaps sell it as a victory for the Russian public after a series of setbacks and defeats in recent weeks. And we had an update from the Ukrainian government yesterday, an advisor to President Zelensky, who said that Russia had intensified its efforts in Donetsk and also in Luhansk, also in the east of the country, and that the Russian forces are trying now to carry out offensive operations in that part of the country.
9 months of destruction, great fear, and unimaginable loss. Shocking to see how much damage has been done in residential areas, increasing fear and paralyzing cities and towns with no electricity or refuge for this coming winter. Yet this fight seems far from over.